There's a couple of new surveys out there that we're going to go over, but these are mistakes that I want you to avoid. So stick with us, pay attention, and let's go have some fun with this today.
And now, the Wealth Training Academy.
You can have wonderful documents, but if they don't work for the assets you have and the income stream that you need, it's a waste of your time and it's a waste of your money.
Asset protection, tax reduction, holistic planning.
You got to make sure that the team's working together, because if the team's not working together, somebody's going to screw up.
Retirement doesn't have to be complicated.
There's so many people selling product. Don't buy product until you have a plan.
And now, the Wealth Training Academy with Ed Storer.
Shielding, protecting, growing your business and your wealth. Welcome. Once again, it's the Wealth Training Academy with wealth coach Ed Storer. Ed speaks for the team. Sometimes team members come on, but it's a great fiduciary team at this turnkey firm. And Ed, I like what you said. We do have fun with this. I mean, you get out great information, but we have fun with it as well.
You have to have fun in life. You have to. It's just, I was speaking to somebody the other day, and we were kind of goofing off a little bit. And he goes, I have a love-hate relationship with money. And I whipped around and I said, yes, you love it when you have it and hate it when you don't.
Right, exactly. That's about right.
And I think that's true for everybody. There's a love-hate relationship. So let's go make some love on the radio today and share with people how to make more money.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It's easy. This is going to sound crazy. It's easy to make money. It is so hard to keep money in today's world. So we're going to tackle some of that.
Well, that's what you're all about, is with your clients keeping the money in retirement and the strategies to do that. We're going to hear from a survey, and it was conducted by the money management firm Natixis, and asking financial advisors around the country what they think are some of the biggest retirement planning mistakes that people make. 49%, Ed, said underestimating the impact of inflation. You think?
Oh, I can definitely see this as a big one. Actually, I'm a little surprised that it's that low.
Yeah.
Had they asked me, I would have said 75% of the people that we talk to who actually don't become our wealth members because either A, they don't qualify, or B, we're just not the right fit. And our firm isn't right for everybody, and we don't pretend to be right for everybody. We're not seeking to be right for everybody, but the people that we want to work with and the people that we're able to add value to, we want to be right for them 100% of the time. So, and the interesting thing about this whole concept of inflation is that people have forgotten, or maybe you have forgotten, that the idea of inflation's all around us, and it's been eking up more and more than just the standard 3% that everyone's been talking about. I mean, it goes without saying that regardless of what they're reporting in the government, inflation is at least in the 15%, because look, buy eggs.
Right.
if you haven't bought eggs, I'm sorry, that's like 200% inflation. We're paying like $5 for eggs now, and I've always mentioned cheese because, well, we eat a lot of cheese, and maybe that's why my waistline keeps growing, right? But
meat too.
The interesting thing about this is that people are still looking at inflation in and around 3%. I remember when my parents bought a car, and they actually came home. It was funny. I was maybe about 6, 7 years old, and they came home and they said, Ed, we just got you a $7,000 football. And they gave me the football. And I'm like, oh my God, why would you ever pay $7,000 for the football? Oh, it came with a free car. So, but back then, $7,000 for a car was wow. That was top of the line. Today, a $7,000 car, where do I find that?
Well, and it's not going to be much to it, probably.
That's right. So just looking at the idea of inflation, how it's affecting, that is so underrated that we all need to take a look at that. And that needs to be carried forward into understanding everything that we do now through this class today or through the show that we're doing. Is let's keep that top of mind of inflation, because everything that we're going to be talking about is because of inflation. So it's overlooked. It needs to be really focused in on. I will let you know if you come sit down, chit chat with us. That's our big topic. We're always talking about inflation and how it's eroding the money. So I can understand it being a big, again, 49, I would have said a lot higher.
Yeah, me too. I was shocked at how low that was. And a lot of what we talk about here too is longevity, and there is the term longevity risk. And in this Natixis survey, 46% of advisors cited underestimating how long you will live as a big retirement planning mistake.
Yeah. The interesting thing is there's another survey that was done by Social Security. And this survey and the Social Security survey kind of match. But the interesting thing is that based on the Social Security survey, those who survive are going to be the ladies. 98% of all widows' benefits are female. 98% of all widow benefits are female. So here's the interesting thing. Statistically, we're going to be now living males to about 83. So that means, ladies, statistically, you're going to be living into your 90s. There's a joke there, but I'm going to leave it alone. So, the average idea of, hey, I'm retiring at 65 and I'm going to pass away like mom and dad did is entirely different. So those things need to be looked at and calculated. So you're going to need to start looking at the idea of at least planning to age 100, which is what we do with our gap analysis. Our gap analysis is something that we take a look at your taxes, your investments, your insurance, your estate planning. And because the world of distribution where you're in now versus the world of accumulation where you're working your 401k, putting money away, is entirely different. Everything you do in the world of distribution is affecting your taxes, your investments, your insurance, and estate planning. Every move you make with your wealth. So we've, again, developed what we call the gap analysis, where we sit down, look at all the issues and what's happening. Just like you have gaps in football, we want to protect those. We don't want anybody busting through the gaps and sacking your quarterback, called the wealth plan. So we've put together a program where we evaluate, again, taxes, investments, insurance, estate planning. And now's the perfect time to take a look at that, especially because we're getting into tax season. But we're going to do this program. We normally charge $2,500. But if you're one of the four, because we only have 4 spots left, if you're one of the 4 and you call and say, I would like the gap analysis, I want you to tell me about my taxes. I want you to tell me about my fees and commissions. I want you to tell me what's going on with the insurance. I want to understand my estate planning. If you were really serious about that and you really want to look it over, give my team a telephone call. If you have $500,000 or more put away for retirement, we'll do it for free. My team is standing by. If for some reason they don't answer the phone, please leave your name and telephone number, a time to call you back, and we will do that. So it's gap analysis. Give us a call now.
And it's 800-563-7030 to call or text. If you text, it's hashtag WTA. That's all you have to text. And the same number, 800-563-7030. From this Natixis survey and the financial advisors around the country weighing in, 42% cite overestimating investment income as a mistake. Now, is that somewhat of a, they're talking about a strict adherence to rules of thumb? Is that where they're going?
Exactly. The interesting thing is there's still this rule out there, and it's funny, people who are looking at rules of historic rules need to throw those things away. throw those away. Those aren't even close to an estimate of opportunity that you should be doing. Right. Because everybody's different. Yeah. And it really has changed tremendously because not everybody gets the pensions. You probably don't have a pension anymore where you're working. You probably have a 401k, but odds are the pension has gone. Or if you're a lucky person, you've gotten the pension, and congratulations. And all those statistics usually came from the world of guaranteed income, like Social Security, pensions, and so on. But, today's baby boomer and Generation X, which I am, we don't have those pensions anymore. So we got to start planning and thinking about those. So that 4% rule is gone. And the idea that the dividends and the income that's producing off of that investments will be there, that 4% is great if you never lost a dime in the stock market. But has to have that conversation with anybody who's been investing in the stock market last year and they were just in the S&P 500 index, or they were in these mutual funds where they weren't being proactive versus reactive in their investing. Ask them how that 4% pull is going to work now.
Right.
When you're not making any money, you got pull 4%. You have to really double your money now to get the same kind of rate of return equals the 4% pull. So these are things that are crazy, and overestimating the investment income. I'm not talking about CD income. I'm not talking about fixed annuity income. I'm not talking about pension income. I'm talking about income off of investments. That gets overrated a lot. So I can understand it being around 42% of people don't do this. And again, it's planning, not product. Everybody's got Apple. Everybody's got GE. Everybody's got Duke Power. Everybody, I'm just naming companies. I'm not recommending. Please hear me. I'm not recommending those companies. I'm just saying there's no difference between this advisor or that advisor who has product. It's what you do with it. There's a difference between a craftsman and a carpenter when it comes to finishing molding in a house, crown molding and so forth. A craftsman is a person who has detail. They do coping. They make things tight and the joints look good. And you walk in, you can tell the difference. A carpenter is the one who, they're usually the framer. They're putting the studs together and so forth. And they don't care if they're beating the wood to death. So that's what I'm saying. You have to understand craftsmanship versus the opportunity of skill. And again, it starts with a gap analysis to understand what type of skill level you need. Right? Not everybody needs a craftsman. Not everybody needs a carpenter. But you need to know where you're at, and the gap analysis can help you do that. Taxes, investments, insurance, and estate planning are all going to be affected when you step into the world of distribution. So give us a call, be one of the four, and take advantage of this.
And the number to call or text if you prefer that, it's 800-563-7030, 800-563-7030. If you text, all you have to text is hashtag WTA. As Ed said earlier, if you do not get a live team member, please leave your information if you call in so they can get back with you and get you scheduled for the gap analysis. It's a comprehensive review. It's about you and your retirement. 800-563-7030. Call or text 800-563-7030. It is the Wealth Training Academy with Ed Storer. What is up after the break, Ed?
We are going to continue with these mistakes that we are seeing from the survey and talk about them and chit-chat with you to make sure to guide you in the right direction when we come back.
When should I take my Social Security? How much risk can I tolerate? I'm afraid I'm overpaying in taxes. Did I save enough? I can't keep up with all these rules.
There are a lot of components to your retirement, and it certainly can seem overwhelming. It's time to establish a partnership with a professional who can provide you with a written plan, the proper strategies, and then be there with you along the way. That's Ed Storer at the Wealth Training Academy. 800-563-7030. 800-563-7030. We're back with the Wealth Training Academy and Wealth Coach Ed Storer. We talk about it all the time. It's all under one roof. Team members, a fiduciary team with expertise in all the components of proper retirement planning, including taxes, investments, insurance, estate planning. It's all there. The insurance, of course, includes Medicare as well. It's all there, and they're there to answer your questions. We're going to get back to this Natixis survey. I just want to remind you to visit the website wealthtrainingacademy.com for a multitude of reasons. You can hear the podcast and past shows. You can scroll through the menu on that. Any tab you click on, you get a box in the right of your screen where you can either schedule the gap analysis, you could submit a question for Ed to answer on the air at the end of each show, and you can also click upcoming events and watch out for upcoming Savvy Social Security workshops and other workshops. Hey, that's delicious food and great information all at one event. So just keep an eye on that, wealthtrainingacademy.com. So this is a Natixis survey, and they talked to financial advisors. So we're hearing the percentage of financial advisors citing which concerns that they have about being retirement planning mistakes. We've already covered underestimating the impact of inflation, underestimating how long you will live, overestimating investment income. Let's get to this next one. 41% of advisors in the survey cited being too conservative in investments. Are they talking about maybe too much cash? What do they mean there?
Absolutely. Here's the crazy thing. You know, the saying of cash is king. Mm-hmm. Well, that is true until you don't have enough cash to go pay the king, and the king being your daily needs of utilities and food and everything else. Here's the interesting thing, and I want to make sure I'm saying this because I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings on this. Yes, sometimes it's better to be in cash than being in the stock market to lose the value of your dollars. But leaving it in cash and not having it produce some kind of income or some kind of return for you is just not good either, because we need to understand. Remember, we started this whole segment and whole program talking about inflation. Mm-hmm. And so inflation is going to erode that cash. So it's just as bad sitting in cash as it is potentially losing in the stock market. Because here's the thing. If you are, at least in the stock market, if it's going down, you have the opportunity for it to return. If you're leaving it in cash, you have zero opportunity for a return. So take the dollars and do something with it. Do not leave it hanging around. That's kind of like going, okay, I'm going to hold on to this, and I'm making this up, this chicken. I'm going to hold on to this chicken into my refrigerator because one day I'm going to make soup out of it. Mm-hmm. Well, it's going to spoil. Okay. And the reason why I'm saying is I just made chicken soup the other day. But it's the same thing. If you keep holding on to cash that has no kind of return, it's going to lose value. And it's going to lose value based on our inflation market here than it would if you put it anywhere to make some kind of return. Now, I'm not saying take risk with dollars that you can afford to lose in the stock market. I am saying your cash needs to be producing something. So it's very, very important that you do that. And again, understanding that cash is not really king. The return on the cash is the king. And that's what makes the register go ka-ching. So that's where we ought to put a soundbite.
You ought to put that on a T-shirt or something. Say that again. Return on investment is the king, and that's what makes the cash register go cha-ching. Crochet it on a pillow or something, please.
I don't know. I'm going to have to be quite honest. I don't even remember what I said there, but it sounded good.
I do. I'll write it down so you never forget it. That was pretty cool.
Can we trademark that again?
I think you should. You should.
All right. There you go.
So you can sell
everybody
the T-shirt.
Who's been listening. So, okay.
That was good.
T-shirts are on sale on the website.
That's right, wealthtrainingacademy.com, but not yet. 40% of advisors said setting unrealistic return expectations, but I wonder if a lot of advisors themselves are doing that. When you and the team forecast or project, how conservative are you in projecting?
So that's very interesting, and everybody's different. And when you look at projections of return, we have created a system, if you would. This whole firm has been engineered and designed with mathematical equations. There is no guesswork. We don't hope and pray your plan is going to work. We know it through mathematical statistics. And the reason why is, well, because we usually work with those who like numbers and those who are highly visual and those who understand that we've got to make a rate of return, but we also don't want to risk the money. So everybody's risk is different based on their number and their speed. And what I mean by number and speed is you will have your own feel of how much money you need to make in a return, because you're going to have your own goals, your own desires, your own income for need. The crazy thing is, on this survey, they're saying that 17.5% is what people are expecting above inflation. Above inflation.
Wow.
I mean, and the average advisor that they looked at and talked to is even the advisors themselves are expecting a 7% return above inflation. Now, that's aggressive.
Yeah.
So maybe if you're in your 30s and you're dollar cost averaging into your portfolio, maybe, and even that is a high expectation. You know, the average rate of return of the S&P 500 over years, 40 years or so, has only been 10%. And now we're trying to get 17.5. Those are unrealistic returns. They're just unrealistic returns from the market. Now, everybody had, you know, there's always the story out there. I made 175% return. I made this kind of return. You know, this stock I bought did this kind of return. Yeah. I can also counter that with, have you looked at Tesla? Have you looked at GE? Have you looked? And now I'm not picking on these stocks. Please understand, you probably own them in your portfolio, but I'm just pointing this out. And so that's why we've come up with systems. We have with the Wealth Shield system that looks at every angle of your taxes, your investments, your insurance, your estate planning. We built this system so with a click of a button, you will know where you are at all times. It will track every aspect of what's going on. Our gap analysis helps build that into the system that we create for you. And the gap analysis looks at the taxes, the investments, the insurance and estate planning. And in the world that we're in today with the super high inflation, with the risk of the stock market, with the craziness of what's going on in and around our environment, we need to be making sure that whatever we're doing it right for you. See, the fish lives in the ocean. And when you catch one, you pull it out. And what's the first thing that you do after you've cooked the fish? You add
Take a picture? Oh, after you cook it. Okay.
After you cook it, you add salt.
Uh-huh.
But yet that fish lives in the ocean that's full of salt. See, you can be in the world, but you don't have to be of that world.
We're going through this Natixis survey. They talked to financial advisors and asked them, what do you think are the common mistakes people are making in retirement planning, and some concerning mistakes? And here's the next one. 39% of the advisors said forgetting to factor in healthcare costs. Maybe many people think, well, at 65, I'll be on Medicare. It doesn't cover everything. What protective measures can we put in place?
Having a conversation with our lead health person over here. Yeah,
right. Miriam's great.
Well, Miriam and her team. So, you know,
right.
Everybody, it's not just one person over here. We have team members that are working together in conjunction with each other in order to perform better for you. So here's the interesting and crazy thing. I am shocked that it's so low. You know, we're saying 39%. Wow.
Citing that, yeah.
Yeah, that's just an overwhelming idea. I mean, you'll need they did the survey and they looked at retirement, that you'll need about $315,000 just to cover your healthcare costs throughout your lifetime. Now, remember, we're living longer also, okay? So these aren't my numbers. These are just the statistics and numbers. $315,000, that's above the healthcare that you're getting from Medicare. So, and as you mentioned, Medicare doesn't cover everything.
And it's not totally free.
Yeah, no, we teach classes on what healthcare covers and what Medicare covers and so forth. And I highly suggest that you look at our website for those upcoming classes, because we're posting them, putting them up there. So healthcare is a big, big issue. And again, it's different for everybody. Not everybody has the same kind of healthcare needs and wants. So the statistics of what you will average being, or at what you will average or what you will pay in healthcare is different. It all depends on where you are now in your stage in life. So I would highly suggest that you really, really understand where you're getting your income from. I would really, really help you understand that relying on public benefits, relying on opportunities from the government is not a good thing. The other one thing that is very interesting about this survey is the idea that a lot of folks are thinking that their equity in their home is a savings account. It's not. Unless your real estate is producing an income, it's a debt. Now, I know I'm going to get a lot of calls about all that and everything, and that's great because you need to understand. See, and we point this out in the gap analysis. We look at the taxes, the investments, the insurance, the estate planning, where you want to be, how you want to get there. We help you get over the FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt. When you have a roadmap, you can take a trip. So you're going to take a trip into retirement. You're going to have a business in retirement. It's called retirement. It's your business. Let us help you, coach you. Let us be part of that. We will work for you as your coaches to get you through this. We've done it a lot. We'll keep doing it for you. We're here. We have a team. I've been here 32 years doing this. I have a whole team behind me, taxes, investments, insurance, estate planning. It's our gap analysis. Please give us a call. Take advantage of this. We're here to help.
And the number is 800-563-7030, 800-563-7030. Call in or text. If you text, all you have to text is hashtag WTA. They'll have what they need to get back with you, get you scheduled. 800-563-7030. What's up next, Ed?
Well, I want to kind of continue with the idea of problems and ideas that we need to take a look at in retirement. And this is always an interesting thing, is comparison between one generation and another. So will you be better off in retirement than your mom and dad or even your grandparents? We'll talk about that when we come back.
And now a nightmare retirement consultation.
Yeah, no pain, no gain, right? No risk, no reward, right? We're going all risk, see? We're going to put everything you got in the market. You're going to love it.
Don't walk, run from that office and go to your future retirement partner with your best interest in mind and with a plan that's customized for your risk tolerance and that can help increase your financial confidence in retirement. That's Ed Storr at the Wealth Training Academy. 800-563-7030. 800-563-7030. The Wealth Training Academy, and the conversation continues. Consumer advocate Dave Perkins and the weekly get-together with wealth coach Ed Storr, representing this firm, this fiduciary team, all working together for you and your retirement. WealthTrainingAcademy.com, and definitely check that website if you want to make sure, if you're interested in learning even more about Social Security and getting tips on how to maximize it. They offer savvy Social Security workshops, and it's at a restaurant, so you're getting a meal too. It's a good deal, and you can get in on this. Just make sure you check the next one at WealthTrainingAcademy.com. Click upcoming events, and I did write this down. I think I got it right, so you don't forget to put it on a T-shirt. The thing you said off the cuff last segment, I think I got it right. Return on your cash is king, and that's what makes the register go cha-ching. Is that right?
Oh yeah, that's it.
Okay,
yeah.
all right. I'll hold on to that for you.
Hold on to that. Well, and the beautiful part is, we're the pillows go on sale for Valentine's Day.
Right, exactly. And the T-shirts, we'll work on that. We'll get it out to the printer and everything. Well, now we've actually got another survey from insurance company Aegon, but we're talking about, are we better than our parents, better off than our parents and grandparents in retirement? I think it's no secret that it's certainly more strategies necessary now. But another thing, too, is longevity. We are not only a graying nation, Ed, we are a graying world.
It is crazy. And I'm citing statistics here from the survey. In 1950, there was 205 million people over the age of 60. In 2017, there were almost 1 billion people over the age of 60 or older. Nearly five-fold increase.
Wow.
Can you imagine
that?
Just within that time, five-fold. There's almost 1 billion people of age 60 and older. That's just amazing. Now, here's the scary thing. You ready for this? By 2050, they're guesstimating 2.1 billion people will be over 60.
Obviously worldwide, but think about older. Here and our programs like Social Security and even more people claim, wow.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the thing that we have to think about and what we have to really look at is when we start planning for our retirement, again, see, that's that longevity. That's that longevity that we are experiencing. And I've said this many times, that it's not necessarily that we're also living longer, but we're not necessarily living healthier into our retirement. And those expenses get even more and more. And the other thing that part of the survey is, well, the generation is entirely different when they believe and they feel like they need to count on the government. The World War II generation believed in the government and what they do. And our government today in the survey is, they've lost faith in the idea that the government programs will be there. Now, depending on who you talk to, whether or not Social Security is considered, a government program, or didn't you fund it? And the answer is, yeah, you put dollars into it all throughout your working career, and you're getting it back. So there's this big idea that maybe Social Security isn't going to be around for you, and that's a big government issue. Also, the idea of Medicare and Medicaid and all those programs designed for the government designed by the government that you rely on. The generation X and baby boomers are having huge anxiety and
about the solvency.
Yeah, exactly. The fear, uncertainty, and doubt that those programs will be there. And so that's why it's more important than ever to have a proper plan. Look, if you don't have a plan, you have somebody else's plan, because they're planning for you. So the government's planning for you. Your your employer is planning for you. They have their plan. Now, again, you can be in the world. You don't have to be of the world. So you need to be in your world, of this world, and you need to have your plan, and your plan based on retirement and in the world of distribution. You need to take into consideration your taxes and how do I minimize those taxes. There are 77,000 pages or more of tax code, and it's getting bigger. Every time they say we're going to cut taxes and reduce the tax code, it just gets bigger. The Secure Act 2.0 just changed everything about your tax world. It just changed everything about your retirement world. It just changed everything about your estate planning world. It's changed the employers, the small business owners. It's changed every rule and regulation that you have to look at and worry about for your employees. Then in 2025, tax codes, according to where they're at right now, change back to before the Trump Tax Cut Act. So all this needs to be looked at and calculated. 2025 isn't that far away. We're in 2023 now. Mm-hmm. So, if you're 5 years out, as we call it in the financial red zone, 5 years out before age 60, or even 10 years out before you're planning on actually saying, I'm done with this phase of my life, you really need to do the gap analysis. It's going to look at your taxes, your investments, your insurance, your estate planning. It's going to help you design a plan for you and your family, so you can be in your own world and have a plan for your world versus letting somebody else plan for you. So take advantage of this. $500,000 or more, put away for retirement. We'll do the program for free for you, but you got to be one of the four. So give us a call.
800-563-7030, and you can text as well, hashtag WTA, 800-563-7030. Comparing generations, our generation, we're talking boomers and Gen Xers who are getting close to retirement, to like the World War II generation, our parents and grandparents. And another thing, too, is cited in this Aegon survey is how we retire and when we retire. Many people are looking at a different way of retiring, not just turning it on instantly, maybe more of a phased retirement.
It's very interesting. The World War II generation is a generation of, we're going to work and then we're going to owe our soul to the company store. I remember that song. I don't remember who sang it, but I remember that song.
16 tons, Tennessee Ernie Ford.
There you go. 16 tons. There you go. Thank you. And there was a lot of truth to that. Because actually, that's what it is. You lived off the pension. You worked until you dropped. And today's world, and in today's baby boomer Generation X, we're phasing into retirement. In other words, we're figuring out ways to go, hey, how can I work part-time doing what I'm doing now and tip my toe into retirement? Let me figure out the ways. Let me understand how to do that. And the interesting thing is you need to really calculate those programs. You need to really understand where you're going to get your income from. You really need to understand what kind of return that you need to have off your investments in order to get that. That's where I hope and pray that I get 7 or 8%, or as we talked about the earlier survey, 17% over inflation. That's crazy. Those are the things that you need to know. See, because once you know the numbers, you can figure it out. There's this old saying that if there's a pot of gold on the person's back doorstep and you say, go find it, everybody will run all over the place. And it doesn't matter if you have a PhD, if you're a doctor, if you're an engineer. If you don't have a roadmap, you'll never find that pot of gold. Mm-hmm. Now, here's the interesting thing. Give a first grader a map to that pot of gold, and they'll find it before anybody else. So that's what I'm trying to say. Map out where you want to go. And it starts with the gap analysis. Our taxes, our investments, our insurance, and our estate planning needs to have a map so you know how to get there. And give us a call. We'll help you get there. Gap analysis, $500,000 or more. We'll show you how it's done.
Well, and it's easy to schedule. 800-563-7030, 800-563-7030. A little bit of time here, Ed. 401ks came into being, and then the private sector pensions especially started on the downslide in the 80s. But in all this time, 40 years basically, have we become more savvy in investing, or do we just rely on the 401k?
Again, that's such an interesting concept or conversation. Do we become more savvy? And the answer is,
I mean, it's not a pension
no.
anymore for most.
Yeah, the answer is no. And the interesting thing is most 401ks have limited options as to what you can invest in. So when you're putting money into the retirement programs, and I'll just say retirement programs other than individual retirement accounts, usually people are investing in mutual funds and they're dollar cost averaging into those mutual funds. And they are passive in nature in the idea of what they're putting their money in. In other words, they'll pick these index funds that have a time element on it, or they'll pick a type of mutual fund and they looked at the latest rate of return on that mutual fund and say, okay, it's going to do this. And you think that's working because you're actually dollar cost averaging into it. Is it a very sophisticated way to invest? The answer is no. Does it work? The answer is yes, when you're in the world of accumulation. When you're in the world of distribution, that doesn't work anymore because there's so many different factors you have to look at. That's when you need to be more active in what you're doing, and you have to be a little bit more sophisticated. And or if you're smart enough, you end up finding a team to help you run everything. And the reason why I'm saying smart enough, because the idea that you can do all this by yourself is going to create fear, uncertainty, and doubt and stress. And nobody wants that in retirement, because you had a team when you were working. You had somebody above you, you had somebody below you, you had somebody beside you. Either way, even if you were the owner, you had a team. In retirement, you need to have a team. And that team works for you here at the Wealth Training Academy. We plan, coach, teach, work for you. We are your coaches. You're the owner of the team. So let us do that by starting with the gap analysis and figuring out how much risk you need. What are the taxes that you're going to pay? How do you get to tax-free, if possible, in retirement? We can do all this through the gap analysis in our planning program. So give us a call.
And again, to schedule, it's 800-563-7030, 800-563-7030. If you text, and you can, text hashtag WTA 800-563-7030. Ed, what's up next? I think I know. It's what we do every week.
We're going to answer the questions from our listeners when we come back.
You drive through this to get to this, and you really want to be here. And there's someone who can get you to your destination, retirement where you want to be, instead of here or here. And that someone is Ed Storr at the Wealth Training Academy. 800-563-7030. 800-563-7030. We're back with the Wealth Training Academy. Consumer advocate Dave Perkins with Ed Storr. Ed is the wealth coach at this firm, and a turnkey firm it is. WealthTrainingAcademy.com. I got to remind you to go there, because if you click upcoming events, and you'll want to do that because Ed and the team offer Social Security workshops and other workshops and other events. They'll let you know if events are coming up. These Social Security workshops are great because they blend delicious food at a local restaurant with great information on Social Security. You can also go to wealthtrainingacademy.com, and any tab you click on, now you get the box on the screen, right side of the screen, where you can submit a question for Ed to answer on the air. And listeners here in the area and podcast listeners are doing that. So we've got some here. We've got Pickens to open it up. How do I pick an advisor? And how should a financial advisor be paid?
Wow. I could teach a whole 2-hour class on this one.
Yeah. Really?
How do I pick an advisor? There's a joke there, but I'm going to leave it alone. It all depends. Let me first back it up and say, how should an advisor get paid? I'm gonna start there, and then we'll jump into how should I pick an advisor, because this is a great question. Thank you for submitting it. There's a difference between fiduciary and suitability, first and foremost. Suitability says companies, insurance companies, and everything else like that create products to sell. They're suitable, and they're designed through their sales team to sell the product to a consumer which they have deemed suitable to sell. A fiduciary has to make sure that everything that is done for their client, because they work for the client on a fiduciary side, they're not selling the product. So there's a difference. The fiduciary gets paid by the individual, so they're working for them. The broker, insurance agent, most financial advisors, and don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with, I'm not saying one is better than the other, or you should be doing this or that. It's up to the individual. I'm just sharing with you that there is a difference. So one will get paid by the company that they're selling the product for. The fiduciary will get paid by the individual that they're working for. So it's entirely different. The fiduciary is trying to figure out ways to save you money, cut costs and expenses, and give you or get you the best return in anything, whether it's cutting taxes, fees, commissions, estate planning, trying to get the most opportunity of growth out of your wealth program. Why? Because that's how they get paid. Okay, so you're asking me how they get paid, where the other one, again, gets commissions and so forth. And there's nothing wrong with either one. Mm-hmm. There's literally nothing wrong with either one, depending on how you want to do things, okay? If you are a person who likes to do everything yourself, maybe you might want to go down the route of working with the fiduciary, because again, you're now hiring an expert who can do things for you for the event of you. If you're a person who just totally hands off, wants to be sold product and really don't need planning, then go to that. I'm sharing that because I'm trying to do this in a delicate balancing act. Both are okay. One's all about you. The other one's all about selling programs and products for the company. They work for the company. They're an employee of the company. They don't work for you. One's an employee for you. That's pretty much the easiest way I can say it. Now, I will let you know everybody over here is a fiduciary. Now, also at the same time, there's programs out there where it's dual, okay? And a fiduciary has to let you also know if they're compensated in a different manner based off of what they're doing. If they're acting as an insurance agent, or they're acting as a tax advisor, or an estate planning attorney or whatever, because attorneys are fiduciaries, CPAs, enrolled agents are fiduciaries, investment people can be fiduciaries. So there's so many different rules and regulations. How do you pick the advisor? Okay. Well, first and foremost, you should be asking everybody that you talk to, are you a fiduciary or do you work for the company? And then you can make your own decision. Okay. I would really highly suggest that if you really want to know more about this, that you actually kind of Google it, because they do a wonderful written article. As a matter of fact, if you come to our webpage and you go, please send me a description of the difference, we have articles and white papers on this that we'll be more than glad to send you. And it's all put out there, and we can give you all this information so you can make a decision on your own. That's really the best way to do that. How do you pick an advisor? The one that has your best interest in mind. That's it. Now, here's the other crazy part about this. And I'm going to use the doctor mentality. You should like your general physician because they put the little Band-Aid on your boo-boo. But if you really want a specialist, if you really want somebody who's perfect, if you had a brain surgeon and you needed brain surgery and that person was the best at what they did, do you really care whether or not you really absolutely love them and you know all about their family and their kids and their dog and their pet and everything? Do you have that bonding? No, you want the brain surgery, okay? So a fiduciary, again, works for you, just like the brain surgeon's out to do something to make you healthy. The fiduciary's out to grow your wealth. So it's very important to have chemistry, but that advisor needs to have the background and experience that you need to have in order to take care of your situation, because everyone's different. And sometimes we outgrow our current advisors because we're moving in a different direction, and that advisor that you knew, loved, and cared about and was your best friend and ended up at your wedding or whatever, you may have outgrown them. And it's time to go find somebody else. So I just want you to keep that in mind. That's kind of how you pick an advisor.
This is interesting. A younger listener. And
Ooh, I like that.
I think I can tell from their question they're listening because they're really into retirement. It sounds like from life experiences, but and it's from they're from Easley. Here's what they say: I'm almost 40, and between my wife and me, we have about $300,000 in different retirement accounts. Our combined income is $160,000. We save 20% a year currently. Retirement is something that I've always been anxious about because I grew up with a lot of money, and I have older relatives in their late 60s who've never been able to retire, or they got stuck working in menial jobs to afford groceries. My goal is to be able to walk away from work at 62 if I want. Now, keep in mind, this is a millennial listening to this show about retirement planning.
Well, here's the interesting thing. I'll tease you a little bit. You said grew up with a lot of money, and
did I say with a lot of money? They definitely meant without a lot of money.
They said without a lot of money.
I'm glad you corrected me, because that is exactly what they say, without a lot of money.
And you know, it's interesting. Remember, I said earlier that love-hate relationship, you know, I love money when I have it. I hate it when I don't. Mm-hmm. And that's a perfect example of this is, you know, we love it when we have it and hate it when we don't, especially if we grew up with the idea of not having a whole lot of money. I, too, grew up that way. My family didn't have a lot of money. And there was a lot of struggling and things going on when I was a kid and growing up, even through high school and college. I had to do a lot of working. I mean, it just is. So I respect this person in the idea that they're busting their quiche and putting money away. That 20%, that's amazing. Congratulations. Yeah. So I'm not really quite understanding what the question here is. It's more of a
it kind of is a statement.
A statement than it really is a question. I'm proud of you. That is absolutely phenomenal. Maybe are you on the right track? Could be the question that you're asking here.
Yeah.
Are you trying to figure out the FUD, the fear, the uncertainty, and the doubt that you want to get over? This is a person who really needs to understand planning. And this is a perfect person to actually get a hold of and talk to and chit chat with, because you can help guide them along the way to get their goals and to make their dreams come true. And you're on the right track. You really are. I didn't hear or see or anything about debt. So there's a question on debt. I would always ask, do you have your estate planning put together? This is a very big issue that you need to look at. So my thing is, if you're running into this situation or if you have kids that are like this, I would highly suggest you come in, set the example, show them what planning's all about, and then take your plan and show them what our gap analysis could do for them, and then let them come in. Mm-hmm. So here's an example of lead and let your family follow. So that would be what I was sharing here. But this is a perfect person that just needs to sit down and have a gap analysis put together for them.
Yeah, they're younger, but I know you'd love to talk to them. They're certainly serious about retirement.
That's the beautiful part, is they are serious about retirement, and everybody needs to be serious. Look, I hope today's show set the tone in the presence of how important it is to plan. Product will be there. Planning is the important part. And that's what needs to be done first and foremost. Put your plan together. Taxes, investments, insurance, and estate planning all together. And by the way, when it's ing, that means you're living. When it's the plan, well, it's done. So you're living.
You're trying to come up with another T-shirt saying?
Yeah, I'm trying to come up with another T-shirt. It'll be fun. All good.
Well, here is how you schedule that gap analysis. One final opportunity. There were 4 openings in the schedule, so see if you can still get in on this week at no cost, no obligation. 800-563-7030. 800-563-7030. Website, wealthtrainingacademy.com. And we said we were going to have fun, and we did.
We did. We took a subject that was hard and emotional and turned it in fun, and T-shirts go on sale Valentine's Day.
Right.
We are not a T-shirt factory. We are the Wealth Training Academy. And we are here to shield, protect, grow your business and your wealth. Until next week.
Wealth Training Academy LLC is a marketing and training facility designed to help business owners as well as pre- and post-retirees regain control of their business and personal wealth. Wealth Training Academy also rents the facility out to other organizations and the utilization of its materials. Wealth Training Academy's tax division utilizes the Tax Advisory Group LLC, which is an independent tax reduction planning and preparation firm. Wealth Training Academy's investment division utilizes Idle Hill Advisors LLC, which is an SEC-registered investment advisor firm. Certain appropriately licensed individuals are registered to offer investments through Idle Hill Advisors LLC. They are not affiliated with any entities listed herein. They also do not offer tax, legal, or insurance advice. Past performance is no indication of future results. All investment carries an inherent risk and may not be suitable for everyone. Wealth Training Academy's insurance division utilizes Insurance Made Easy LLC, which is an independent insurance firm. Certain individuals are licensed to offer insurance through Insurance Made Easy LLC. Wealth Training Academy's estate planning division utilizes Essential Estate Planning. With our attorney groups, they can help assist with various legal matters. Wealth Training Academy's business division utilizes Maximizing Value LLC, which is an independent coaching and consulting firm. The opinions expressed in this commentary are those of the author and may not necessarily reflect those held by Wealth Training Academy or any of its divisions. This is for general information only and is not intended to provide specific tax, investment, insurance, or legal advice or recommendation for any business or individual. It is suggested that you consult your financial professional, attorney, or tax advisor with regard to your individual situation. Comments concerning past performance are not intended to be forward-looking and should not be viewed as an indication of future results.